So here we are. Welcome. So yeah, today's session is carrying on or continuing from last week's, which was, it's part 2 on how to meditate. And we're looking at revisiting some of the basics in terms of mindfulness meditation. And the fact that there is obviously a multitude of different types of meditation. But mindfulness is slightly different in that there's some steps to it, but essentially we're not trying to achieve anything. We're not trying to change anything. It's more about observing, about witnessing what's happening. And that's nicely encapsulated in the definition of mindfulness, which is knowing what's happening while it's happening without preference. So we bring a certain awareness to what's happening. This is the knowing what's happening. We're aware of what's happening while it's happening, which of course is now. So we've got a present moment awareness of what's happening and without preference. So we're bringing a neutrality to it. Now, of course, the mind will come up with all sorts of judgments and preferences, but that's not actually a problem. It's only our job to notice when we are being judgmental, when we are moving towards preferences or moving away from things we don't like. A common misunderstanding, certainly with mindfulness meditation, is that you have to clear your mind, that you have to stop thinking. And apart from that being virtually impossible, certainly for me, it's not what mindfulness meditation is about. What we're doing in mindfulness is observing. It's becoming a witness to the screen of the mind, noticing what happens when we stop. When we stop and give ourselves something to focus on, we soon realize that the mind has other ideas. And it will pull us into the past, it will pull us into future. And in that, it's revealing its nature to us. It's revealing its chaotic nature. It's revealing its sort of base nature as well. It kind of moves according to our basic needs and wants. It's very automatic. So the benefits of, or one of the main benefits of mindfulness is we get better at not getting pulled into that. We get better at becoming aware of what the mind is doing without being pulled into it so much. But that takes practice. You know, the analogy I use is we're walking a new path through the grass. And in the beginning, the grass is long and it's difficult to walk through. But as we practice over time, the grass flattens out a little bit and then we create a little pathway. And then the old pathway that we were used to going down starts to grow over. So that's basically mindfulness meditation. And we looked last week at the setting the posture. So having a certain dignity, a certain awareness, a certain alertness and a relaxation about our posture, allowing ourselves to be comfortable. We looked at setting our intention and motivation as a way of directing our practice. But then the importance of letting that go as well. And the analogy for that is like firing an arrow. We set our intention and motivation, and then we just let that go, because the meditation will always run its own course. And it'll take us from left to right, up, down, inside and out, and everywhere. We also looked at the benefits of following the breath and of bringing some balance to the breath. And in this way, we're helping the nervous system to calm down, and we're giving the mind something to focus on, a little bit like giving a puppy something to chew on so it doesn't run all over the house and eat your slippers. And we need the same kind of patience with the mind that we do a puppy as well, because it shares some characteristics of that. The next part of a meditation, so it's really in sequence, is grounding through the body. We call it grounding because we start to connect with the physicalness of our body, the felt sense of being here. And we usually do that in the form of a body scan. And it can be, a systematic body scan from head to toe, from feet to head, or it can be just noticing what the most obvious sensations in the body are. And we aim to do that mindfully as well. So we're doing it without preference, without judging, just noticing if there is a sensation. What's the most obvious sensation here? Is it our bums on the chair? Is there a pain in the shoulder? And what we're doing there is we're focusing more of our awareness on the present moment, because the body is always present. The body's always here. The body's always now. You can't feel a sensation in the future or the past. So it gives us a real solid, tangible anchor to keep us grounded in our practice. And it doesn't, I remember my early days of practicing mindfulness and using the body scan, and I couldn't really see the sense in it. I couldn't really connect with it. But over time, that connection grows and we become more deeply aware of the body. And it's quite a fascinating thing to explore, because when we explore the body, without judgment, without labels, we're connecting with the energy of our body, the energy of life. And that can have some interesting and calming benefits. So I think with that in mind, there are a couple of sort of cautions to take when doing any exploration of the body. And that is understanding that as present as the body is, it can store emotions from the past. And sometimes we'll be looking through the body and we'll come across an area which might create an emotional reaction. Now, we're not here to sort of be scared of that or to move away from all of what's difficult. In fact, we're encouraged to look at and hold what is difficult, but only to the capacity that we're able to. If it is too difficult, and we can use our own intuition for that, if it's too difficult, then please move your attention either elsewhere to somewhere else in the body, bring it to the breath, focus on something else. You don't have to follow my exact guidance through the practice. So yeah, there's no expectation to push beyond what you're comfortable to push with. One thing I found with any kind of difficult experience, though, whether it be in the mind as a thought, in the feeling or emotional body as an emotional feeling, or in the physical body, a lot of what we struggle with is the movement away from that feeling or experience, or the resistance to it. It may even be unconscious resistance. So in a very real sense, the difficult things that arise in the practice can be used as a portal into a deeper awareness and understanding of ourselves. If we sit with, a slight discomfort in the body or a slightly agitated thought, if we just sit with it, things can change. And we don't sit with it so things change. We sit with it with acceptance. And what can happen is that experience can transform from being wholly distracting and consuming into something that we're very much aware of. And in that awareness, there's spaciousness, and the difficulty itself shrinks by comparison. Now this is something, I'm really only starting to connect with, and I've been doing this a while. So it is a deeper part of the practice. So don't feel like you're getting it wrong if that doesn't happen, and don't feel like you've got to face every difficult thing that comes along. Another thing to be aware of is some parts of the body we don't feel. They just, if we shut our eyes, we might be able to feel our hands without moving them because they're quite alive. We might be able to feel our lips. But there might be certain parts of the body that just seem blank or they don't appear. And with those, we just recognize, okay, there's a blank spot there. I don't need to do anything with that. I don't need to try harder to find it. It's good enough to notice that there's an absence of sensation in that area. And we'll all have it in some way in the body. And the other thing is, as with any meditation, and I've said this already, is I'm offering some guidance. The mind will steal our attention. We'll jump on the train of thinking and we'll end up halfway down the road before we've realized, oh, damn it, I was meditating. Now, there's no need to use that moment of awareness of recognizing that you're distracted to beat yourself up. It's actually a very important moment of awareness. And I would ask that as soon as you notice that your mind has wandered, stay with that feeling of noticing. That's really important. The mind might jump in with something like, oh, what are you doing? You're doing it wrong. Oh, you're not very good at this. You keep getting distracted. But actually, one of the most powerful things is noticing that moment of awareness. Because just before that, you were gone. You were lost in that thinking. And in that moment of recognition, you're aware. You are knowing what's happening while it's happening. The bit to practice there is the without preference. So we're not judging ourselves for it. We're actually making space for that awareness and connecting more with that fully. So we will get into the body scan practice. Now, the body scan is one of those practices you can lay down for if you want to. You can lay down for any meditation. I would suggest, though, if your priority in this practice is to remain aware and to follow the sort of practice more closely, then laying down can sometimes make you sleepy. I even fall asleep sitting up. So if I lay down, I often fall asleep. And that's quite nice if that's what you're here for, a bit of relaxation. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. Just do that. However, if you're worried about falling asleep or losing awareness, falling under awareness, then it might be helpful just to sit up. But there's no right or wrong way of doing this. Please just go your own way. Okay, so that being said, has anybody got any questions or need clarification on anything? So we're going to go on a little journey here, and your only job is to notice what happens. There's no requirement to do anything else. We're just noticing. So making yourselves comfortable, whether that's laying down, sitting up, and we start with the sound of the bell. And we allow the sound of the bell to meet us right where we are now. Noticing as the sound fades, it leaves a certain silence behind it. And we can bring that awareness to the breath, noticing where it is in our bodies where we feel the breath the most. It may be on the nose, it may be on the throat, maybe in the chest or the belly. Just opening to the sensations of breathing. What does it feel like? We can begin to lengthen the breath. Soft inhale and slow exhale. Just noticing the qualities of the breath as we breathe in this way. The texture of the breath. Using the early stages of this practice to get as close as we can to the breath, to that sensation, that flow of breath. And the mind will wander into thinking, into thoughts. That's not a problem. All we need to do is notice that we're thinking. This is what it feels like to think, and we return to the breath. And if our awareness is on the breath for one inhale, then that's steady. That is steady awareness. Just letting the past roll on, staying present with each inhale and each exhale. Sometimes helpful to balance the breath so we can count the breath coming in and then balance that with the exhale. Maybe counting to 3, 4 or 5 on the inhale. And then equalizing the exhale, 3, 4 or 5. Can we relax the mind? Just give it permission to just focus on breathing and counting. Noticing if we're aware of thoughts before they arise, as they arise, or after they've arisen. And that'll change moment by moment. So just breathing and counting. Riding that even, balanced flow. And letting go of the counting, so the breath's able to return to its natural rhythm. So here we're coming back to simply observing the breath. And we can return to this awareness at any point during the practice if we get distracted. Just coming back here to awareness of the breath, awareness of breathing, awareness of sensations. And we can pay particular attention to how the body feels when we let go of the breath, as we exhale. As the body's very natural relaxation response. Notice how the body softens. The body may sink a little deeper into the ground. We may notice the face softening on the exhale, letting go of any unnecessary tension as we let go of the breath. Letting go of tension in the shoulders and neck and throat as we let go of the breath. In the chest or the heart space, softening. Softening within the belly. With each exhale, softening and softening. Down through the hips and the legs, all the way down to the feet on the floor. And we're going to move our awareness into the area of the feet. Curious about any sensations that are arising in that area. Can we open up to the connection of our feet with the ground or the surface we're resting on? Maybe the contact of clothing on the skin. Are there any sensations within the foot, inside the body? Again, no wrong way of doing this, just noticing what is or what isn't there. Maybe it's space. Maybe it's blank. And that's just as valuable as any particular sensation. And are there any layers of sensation in the feet? From the most obvious to slightly less obvious. What's the most subtle sensation in the feet? Bringing awareness to the space around the feet. And breathing in and out of this area as we let go. And we refocus our awareness in the area of the lower leg. So the area of the calf and the shin. Either or both legs. Noticing if there's any sensations at all in this area. Any pressure, tightness or tingling. Numbness. Again, open. We're open and receiving these sensations. Just noticing what is or isn't here. And breathing in and out of that area and moving our awareness up through the knees into the thighs, including the hips, the backside, the groin. Can we allow all the sensations that are available to arise without judgment? It might be helpful to name the sensations. Maybe it's prickly, maybe dense, maybe painful. But you may also try letting go of any labels, any descriptions, and visiting the sensation directly. Can we be aware of the sensations of the body from within the body as energy? Or however it is appearing. And we can move that awareness up into the area of the belly and the lower back. Noticing how that feels. Is there any movement? Any stillness? Any warmth or coolness? Dropping any expectations of what the mind says about what we should be feeling or should be experiencing, and just opening up to what is here, what is present right now. It's quite possible that the mind is active and criticizing and judging, and that's normal. It's not a problem. All we need to do is just move our awareness as best we can back into the body. Just begin to feel the body again. Notice what there is to notice and nothing else. And if the mind takes over again, we simply repeat that. Acknowledge the mind is moving. Move our awareness back into the body, back into the belly. We can move up from the belly into the area of the chest and the upper back. Noticing any tension, any tightness. Sometimes some emotions trapped in and around the area of the heart. Can we give those space? Can we notice what's happening on the very physical side of the body? The feeling of touch, clothing, pressure. Just opening receiving any sensations that are available. And coming into the shoulders and moving down the arms, scanning down the upper arm into the elbow and the forearm, into the hands. Feeling the weight of the hands. Noticing any space. Noticing any subtle sensations. Moving back up the arms into the shoulders, around the top of the shoulders, the neck and the throat. Bringing that awareness to the head and the face. Noticing any sensations at all, maybe on the lips, the jaw. Noticing any pressure in the eyes, the brow. Just allowing those sensations to arise in this space of awareness. And again, opening now to receive the whole body. The whole body as a field of energy. And whilst remaining aware of the body, we can deepen the breath again. And just start to sigh out as we come towards the end of this meditation. Just letting go of any need to get anything right. Letting go of the practice of exploration, just sighing it out. And gently and in our own time, with the sound of the bell, just starting to move the body again. Moving the fingers and toes. And taking your time. Coming back in your own time to the group.